What is good, YouTube? First things first, I want to say I made a Twitter account. It's the same as my YouTube, just to do MMA. Go give me a follow. I was making posts throughout the card. And yeah, I think it's a good follow. But yeah, let's get straight into it. There were people talking shit about this card, saying this card was gonna be trash. Diaz versus Leon and Shabazian versus Hermanson was being removed was gonna make this card trash. No, it did not. This card delivered. Now it did not live up to 261, but that's like comparing a human being to God. It's like it will never live up. It's like that UFC 261 card is just unmatched. Literally from start to end, every single fight on that card was a banger. This card had a couple snoozers, I'm not gonna lie, but for the most part, this card was fire. Now, listen, I did not see the prelims, so I'm not really gonna, I mean, the early prelims, excuse me, so I'm not gonna talk about that. Let me first talk about Andrea Lee beating Antonina Shevchenko by an armbar. It was impressive. Andrea Lee was winning both rounds. She landed she got Antonina to the ground where she wanted the fight to be, and she eventually got a submission. Huge win for her. Jordan Wright. I did not think Jordan Wright was going to win this fight. He has a glaring weakness. When he gets pressured and people put volume on him, he tends to wither because the dude has terrible head movement, and he keeps his head on the center line. He keeps his chin up in the air. It's just that it's just a glaring weakness for him. But he was able to Jamie Pickett, instead of just continuing to apply the pressure with his punches, he actually shot for a takedown, and that was his demise. Jordan Wright landed nasty elbows and got a huge finish. Lando Venata versus Mike Grundy, really fun fight. Freaking transitions and just transitions and just scrambles all over the place in this fight. Mike Grundy, a very technical, a very high level wrestler, and he was trying to take Lando Venata down, and Lando was having none of that shit. He was scrambling and transitioning everywhere, trying to get back to his feet or just stuff the takedowns. And on the feet, Mike Grundy had nothing for Lando Venata, of course. And one judge scored it 30-27, Mike Grundy. That's an absolute travesty, an absolute just bullshit call. One of the judges 30-27. Come on, man. You got to do better than that, judges. But yeah, Lando Venata, great win at his first time at featherweight. And to end the prelims, Jacare Souza submitted for the first time in his MMA career against Andre Muniz. That kid's scary on the ground. You tap Jacare on the ground, even though it looks like it's a wash Jacare, tapping Jacare on the ground ever is a problem. You're a problem. So huge win for Andre Muniz. People were saying it looked like Jacare broke his arm. I don't think he broke his arm. When you look at where the quote-unquote break happened, it looked like it was more in the shoulder area. It looked like maybe he got like a dislocated shoulder or something of that short. Now, listen, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but from what I saw, it looked like it's more of a dislocated shoulder than an actual broken arm. But we'll have to see when the injury report comes out what actually happened to Jacare. And the other thing was Jacare was not writhing in pain. He wasn't really holding his arm. He was just letting it loose. It didn't seem like an arm break. And usually an arm break happens at around the elbow. And you see that elbow go, and then it's like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? But that's not really happening. It happened high up, like I said, near the shoulder. So I think it's more likely to be a dislocated shoulder than a broken arm. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see for the injury report. And now we go to the main card. Shane Burgos versus Edson Barbosa. This fight went exactly the way I expected it to. Barbosa was piecing Burgos up for most of the fight. And Burgos had some success here and there, but for the most part, it was just Barbosa having his way. And in that third round, landed a huge right hand. And Shane Burgos, it looked like nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, he just started backing up and then just freaking went down, and Barbosa got the finish in the third. That's scary. That finish is scary because that Shane Burgos, man, he takes hits every time he fights. Literally every time he fights, he takes damage. I'm worried about his health. I hope he takes a long layoff. Like, hopefully he takes a year off because he has a kid on the way. I think he has a kid already, and he has another kid on the way, and I want him to be as healthy as can be for those kids. So, and just for his own health, I just want him to be healthy. So, yeah, he should take a big time off, get scanned, get evaluated, see from like what caused this, because that's not normal. And it is what it is. Now we go on to the controversy of the night. In my opinion, it's not really a controversy, but some bullshit, some shenanigans. Viviane Araujo versus Caitlin Chikagian. The judges scored this fight. Listen to it: 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27 for Caitlin Chikagian. Now, me personally, I scored it 29-28 Viviane Araujo. I thought she outworked Caitlin Chikagian in the first round. In the second round, it's arguable because for like the first 3 minutes, Viviane Araujo was controlling. She was landing more shots, and she even got on top of Chikagian, threatened a couple submissions. But then for that last like minute and a half, Chikagian was able to get up from the ground and put it on Viviane. But this whole a lasting impression on the judge is absolute bullshit. The first minute is just as significant as and important as the last minute. It's not, it's the last minute, so that's leaving an impression. That's bullshit. The first minute and the last minute are equivalent in terms of value. So the fact that Viviane Araujo was doing better earlier in the round than Chikagian was late in the round means Viviane should get the round. Simple as that. But that's just my opinion. I could see a case because Chikagian was putting it on Viviane in that second round. She was putting it on her. So I could see you giving the second round to Caitlin. I would disagree with you, and I'd argue you with that, but at least I could see it. That third round is clearly Caitlin Chikagian's, but 30-27 for either of these women is absurd. If a judge had it 30-27 Araujo, I'd be making the exact same complaint, because there is no reason for these judges to be making such stupid calls like this. Caitlin clearly lost the first round. Viviane clearly lost the third round. And the second round, I say it's like 60-40 Araujo in my eyes. So it just infuriates me, because this is people's livelihoods. These are people's, this is their jobs. I don't know if you guys remember this. The first fight card back, or one of the first fight cards back, Chito Vera, he fought Song Yadong. He clearly, in my eyes, won that fight. He won the second and third round. And the judges gave it to Song Yadong for some reason. Somehow they scored for Song Yadong. I don't know how. But he didn't get his win bonus. Viviane Araujo is not going to get her win bonus, and she's not going to take the number 2 spot now. It's just, these judges are absurd. Something needs to be fixed. I don't know what, but something needs to be fixed. Like I said, I'm not necessarily mad that Caitlin Chikagian won. I'm mad at the 30-27. Like I said, overall, I disagree. I think Viviane Araujo should have got the decision. But more importantly, I'm mad at the 30-27. It's just ridiculous. Rogerio Bontorin versus Matt Schnell. Nothing really crazy went on here. Bontorin was landing some power shots. Schnell was landing some beautiful combos, had some nice slips. But overall, Rogerio Bontorin was just landing the power shots. So, and in the MMA rulebook, power shots are going to win you rounds. And so, yeah, Bontorin, got a good win over a top guy in the flyweight division. It's unfortunate he missed weight. It's unfortunate he lost to Kai Kara France in his last fight, because he was beating Kai until Kai landed a big blow that rocked him and eventually stopped him. So, he could be on like a 2-fight win streak right now against 2 top flyweights. But, it is what it is. And now, in the co-main event, this is unfortunate. I think I can officially say this, and it sucks to say it sucks to say. Tony's probably washed. Let's be honest. Tony's washed now. It sucks to say, but it's just the truth. Tony's washed. Honestly, depending on how active and how soon this guy wants to return, honestly, I say give Tony Islam Makhachev. That's my opinion. Give Tony Islam Makhachev. It depends. We don't know what's wrong with Tony's knee, because Tony's knee was hurt bad. There's no way it wasn't. There's no way Beneil Dariush didn't hurt his knee. But depending on how long Islam's willing to wait, and how long it would take for Tony to fix his knee, put that fight on. It's basically Khabib's protege versus Tony. The closest we'll ever get to Khabib versus Tony. But, it is what it is. That's my opinion. And for Beneil Dariush, he's a great win. Just dominated Tony, able to take Tony down, hold Tony down. And we didn't get it, very much like the Oliveira fight. We didn't get to see much striking from these two. It was predominantly grappling and just predominantly Tony getting dominated on the ground. As for Beneil Dariush, I'd like to see him fight either. I posted it on my Twitter. Go check out my Twitter. Like I said, just launched it today. I would like to see him fight either RDA. I think that's a pretty fun fight, him versus RDA. I'd like to see him fight Justin Gaethje for a number. That would be a number one contender, number one contender matchup, or the loser of the fight, who was Michael Chandler. Or Michael Chandler. One of those three guys, I think, makes complete sense for Beneil Dariush. But he 100% should be getting a top 5, top 6 dude. No doubt about it. And going to the main event. Oh my God. Let me just say real quick. Performance of the night should go to, let me see. Performance of the night. Who's on this card? Who would I give performance of the night to? I didn't see the early prelims, so sorry, anybody on the early prelims, I can't give you that shit. But performance of the night, I'd give to Andre Muniz and Andre Muniz and Andre Muniz. Damn. This is actually a tough one. I say Andre Muniz and Jordan Wright, I guess. I'll give it to Jordan Wright. Even though Andrea Lee is also deserving, in my opinion, I'll give it to Jordan Wright. So Andre Muniz and Jordan Wright get performance of the night. And fight of the night, usually they only give one fight of the night. I don't see how you don't give 2 fight of the nights. Give Oliveira versus Chandler fight of the night 100%. Both those men deserve $75K. And also Shane Burgos and Barbosa, I think, deserve fight of the night. So that's who I'd give it to. That's who I give fight of the night and performance of the night to. I know they usually don't give 2 fights in the night, but it is what it is. But yeah, going on to the main event. Wow. Charles Oliveira. Do Bronx. Can I get a comeback of the year? I don't know what's going to top this for comeback of the year. Charles Oliveira was down bad in that first round. Chandler landed a huge right hand right over the temple. Dropped Charles and then landed some big hooks, and then started landing some huge ground and pound. Man, and listen, Chandler was very impressive in that first round because Oliveira got his back. Oliveira took him down, and he had a guillotine on Oliveira, and he was able to get out of it. And then he rocked Oliveira, dropped him, and was pounding him out. You could argue that was a 10-8 round. I wouldn't give it a 10-8 round, but you could argue it was a 10-8 round. That first round. And then the second round, like literally 5 seconds in to the second round, Oliveira, huge left hook right on the button, rocked Chandler bad, and he was able to eventually finish Chandler. Man, Charles Oliveira is a true problem. Anybody saying Charles Oliveira doesn't have heart needs to shut the fuck up, slap themselves in the fucking face, because you sounded stupid as fuck, and that shit really ain't aging well. That shit's aging like fucking milk in the hot sun, bro. Saying Oliveira doesn't have heart. Okay. Man, this dude, man, I'd love to see Charles Oliveira versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, man. I'd love to see that fight. It's literally a better Tony Ferguson versus Khabib. Literally Tony Ferguson times 10 versus Khabib. And everyone thought Tony was going to give Khabib a problem. Multiply that by 10. Man, I'd love to see them two fight. It's a shame. Khabib's retired. He's not going to come back. It is what it is. But yeah, for these two guys, Chandler, he could either fight. I'm assuming for Oliveira, what's going to be next for Oliveira is the winner of Khabib versus Poirier. I'm assuming that's what's going to be next for Oliveira. Khabib is going to be the winner of Conor versus Poirier. So what's next for Chandler, I think, should be either Gaethje or Beneil Dariush. Is what should be next for Michael Chandler. But yeah, that wraps up my reaction to this fight, to this pay-per-view. Man, really, really fun card. Really, really good card. People were underrating it, but it really came through. And man, the fans and the energy from the fans, man, it just brings a whole new level. Now, listen, my personal opinion on having large crowds and stuff like that is that not necessarily that. I think it's they might be moving a little too quickly. CDC, I don't want to get too political, but CDC just announced that if you're vaccinated, you basically don't have to wear masks now. I think they're moving a little too quick, but it is what it is. But yeah, the fans in the crowds, man, the energy's freaking insane. And how about next freaking week? We got possibly the two fighters with the best hands in the bantamweight division, Cody Garbrandt and Rob Font fighting each other. Edmund Shabazian versus Jack Hermanson has been moved to that fight card. Yan Zhao Nan versus Carla Esparza in a potential number one contendership match. That fight card's going to be nuts, and that prediction video will be out next week, hopefully on Thursday. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. One more time, please go to my Twitter, just to do the MMA. And yeah, that's all I got. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this card. And yeah, that's about it. I'm gone.